The central region of India contributes significantly to the agriculture growth of the country. Despite suffering from several biophysical constraints and fragile agro ecosystems. The central region is spread across states of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and central part of Maharashtra. Are identified based on the climatic vulnerability and appropriate technologies were demonstrated. Scarcity of water is a perennial problem in this region which gets aggravated during deficient monsoon conditions. Decline in groundwater level is also a major concern. Runoff leads to loss of fertile topsoil from agricultural lands and the problem is aggravated in slopy areas. To address this problem, location-specific in-situ moisture conservation measures were demonstrated, which conserved moisture and significantly improved crop yields. In soybean, ridge and furrow planting and sowing across the slope with short-duration variety JS9560 was demonstrated. In cotton, ridge and furrow planting resulted in an yield advantage of 15% over farmers' practice. Adoption of broad bed planting system and use of bed planter was promoted for improved rainwater conservation and better drainage in black soils of central India. Contour cultivation and bunding helped in reducing soil erosion as well as runoff, which promoted growth of crops due to enhanced infiltration of water into the soil. In the central regions, there is enough potential to harvest runoff, especially after heavy rainfall events through rainwater harvesting. On-farm rainwater storage structures were promoted as key intervention in the Nikra villages. Integration of farm ponds with suitable cropping modules minimized the risk of crop failure in the event of prolonged dry spells. Lining of farm ponds using HDPE prevented loss of water through seepage and increased water use efficiency and productivity. Check dams were constructed for water storage, recharged open wells and bore wells. This provided an opportunity for critical irrigation during dry spells. Significant increase in crop area during the Rabi season was observed through water harvesting and recharge of wells. As a low-cost alternative, Bori bandaras were constructed using sand-filled bags as temporary water storage structures. By this intervention, the irrigation during Rabi and summer seasons was made possible. Efficient use of harvested water through drip irrigation facilitated supplemental irrigation to cope with prolonged dry spells. Harvested water was used for high-value rabi crops, which increased returns significantly.
मग मी ड्रीप घेतलेला आहे. ड्रीप लावल्यानंतर मी ड्रीपच्या नंतर एवढे फायदे झालेले आहे मला. त्याचं म्हणजे खत वगैरे जे आहे तो ड्रीपने जात असते आणि जे माणसाचा फायदा आहे, बायाचा फायदा आहे आणि दुसरी गोष्ट हे आहे का पाण्याचा बिलकुल म्हणजे कमीत कमी पाणी लागते.
Resilient crop interventions were introduced in this region to stabilize productivity under variable climatic stresses. In central region, short duration and drought escaping varieties of different crops were demonstrated for delayed sowing and deficit rainfall condition. Cultivation of short duration and high yielding varieties enabled farmers to cope with shortened growing season due to late arrival of monsoon and delayed plantings. Introduction of short duration high yielding varieties like TJM3 of green gram and Ganga of black gram in place of long duration local varieties helped to overcome uncertain rainfall and waterlogging. Contingent crops like soybean JS9560, sesame TKG306 and groundnut GG20 were found to be promising for the delayed onset of monsoon in Datia. Practice of sole cropping is predominant but is risky and often results in low yields or crop failure due to erratic monsoon. Intercropping with cotton or soybean with pigeon pea proved to be more profitable and key drought coping strategy. Adoption of zero-till sowing wheat resulted in early sowing of wheat, which enabled the crop to escape the terminal heat stress. Soil health and soil quality are key to ensure sustainable food security in fragile agro ecosystems. Soil test-based integrated manure and fertilizer use was taken up in Nicra villages. Village-level carbon balance estimated under Nicra enabled identification of resilient practices that contribute to carbon sequestration. In Maharashtra, hormonal sprays of NAA at flowering stage contributed to better retention of flowers and fruits in Alfonso mango during adverse climatic conditions. In this region, livestock interventions are demonstrated for enhancing adaptation gains and imparting resilience. Breed upgradation at village level by introducing Beetal, Jamunapuri, Murra, Kadaknath, Vanaraj, Croiler, etc. boosted the productivity of livestock and poultry in the region. Introduction of stress-tolerant indigenous breeds was successful in building the proportion of resilient stock at the village level in non-traditional areas. Availability of fodder is a challenge in the region, especially during drought and summer. Farmers adopted year-round fodder production systems with sorghum, lucerne, berseem and multi-cut fodder varieties like MP Chari of fodder sorghum. Farmers were trained on use of area-specific mineral mixtures to mitigate nutrient deficiencies, which improved reproductive health and milk yield in dairy animals. Farmers modified animal sheds to improve ventilation and provided misting facility to reduce the impact of heat stress during summer.
3 वर्षापासून करत असल्यामुळं मला स्वतःला फायदा होतोय आणि माझं पाहून अनेक शेतकरी आता करू लागलेत.
Composite fish farming with carps like rohu and katla resulted in additional income. Recognizing the need for establishment of enabling support systems for participatory decision-making and wider adoption of climate-resilient agriculture practices, and also build capacities at the local level, village climate risk management committees were formed. 10 to stakeholders. These programs contributed to knowledge empowerment, skill development, decision-making on investments in agriculture and coping ability of farmers. Increasing climate variability in semi-arid regions in Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra is adversely impacting farmers' income and livelihood from agriculture. The Icar project identified successful practices for climate resilience in agriculture in this complex, diverse and risk-prone environments. The project opened up opportunities for scaling up and scaling out of proven interventions in the region. Icar villages have become hubs for learning on climate-resilient agriculture and paved the way for mainstreaming of climate-resilient practices to manage climate variability.